By the time my son turns 18, he should have around £58,000 waiting for him to start his adult life. And it's not because I'm a high earner, it's because I made one simple commitment every payday. In March 2025, I became a dad and my whole world changed, including my approach to investing, not just for myself, but for him as well. When it came to my own investment portfolio, I found myself making a few tweaks, pulling back on risk because I felt like that was in the best interest of my family. I'm Brandon, a 30-year-old dad who has been investing for over 8 years, building a multi-six-figure portfolio in the process. Today, I'll show you exactly what I'm doing right now for my son's future and how my own investing has changed as well. Before I even started investing for my son, I knew that there was one thing that I definitely wasn't going to do. And that thing was putting his money into a cash ISA or a savings account. Based on a monthly contribution of £100 over 18 years at a 3% return, which could be considered generous for a cash ISA, he would start his adult life with roughly around £28,600. Now at first that amount may not sound too bad, and it's definitely not. But when you look into it and think about it further, it's barely beating inflation, and it's almost certainly not going to be a house deposit for when he wants to move out. Instead, I set up a junior ISA for him, which is basically the child's version of a stocks and shares ISA. However, the main difference with this is that the annual contribution is £9,000 rather than £20,000 like it is for the stocks and shares ISA. But with my £100 per month contribution, that isn't something that I need to worry about. And I do believe that this is the best option out there right now when it comes to starting a fund or saving up for your child's future. And very simply put, when he turns 18, the ownership of this ISA will be transferred over to him. And at that point, I'll probably strongly advise him on what he should and shouldn't be spending that money on, and let's just hope that he listens. Now, I recently did a video sharing everything that you need to know and how to set up a junior ISA for your children as well. So if you're interested in checking that one out, I will leave a link down below in the description. So when it comes to the current state of my son's junior ISA, he has around £1,800 sat in there. 1,600 of that has been my monthly contributions, plus a £200 gain, give or take. When it comes to what I'm actually buying for him on a monthly basis, I currently have a 70-30 split. £70 of that 100 is going into a simple S&P index fund. And then the remaining £30 each month is going in a slightly higher risk tech index fund. Now, I'll be honest, for most people watching, it's probably easiest to just put 100% of that allocation into an S&P index fund. But for me, I'm a little bit of a tech nerd and I'm constantly checking stocks and the markets every single day. So I kind of enjoy diversifying a little bit and just having a bit of fun to see if I can beat the market. However, if you don't care about stocks, if you don't care about the markets, if you've got no interest in paying attention to these investments, then it's definitely worth just sticking to the S&P. Historically, the average return for the S&P 500 is around 10% per year. And that is what I am still aiming for despite that little bit of diversification. Anything more than that 10% is just a bonus, and anything less is my mistake and I have to take ownership for that. So this time, based on a 10% annual return over those 18 years with a £100 contribution, he's going to come away with around £58,000 by the time he turns 18. And if we compare that to what we mentioned earlier with the cash ISA with an approximate return of £28,600, he's going to end up roughly around £30,000 better off. Now, some people watching may be worried, thinking that that could be risky or it could be volatile. When it comes to the risk, I really don't see much risk here. You are investing in the 500 largest public companies in the US. It is historically proven to return an average of 10% per year based on facts and data. And when it comes to the volatility, sure, you're not wrong there. There can be good years and there can be bad years. You really can't be overly emotional about it. You can't be refreshing the portfolio every single day because it's just going to drive you crazy. The idea here is that you simply decide how much you want to contribute each month and then you automate that every single payday. In theory, you don't even need to look at this until your child turns 18. On a side note, if you do want to see more content based around investing for our children, maybe me talking about what I'm doing, updating this series and how the portfolio is going, do let me know down below in the comments and I'll be sure to put more stuff out. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much what I'm doing for my son and his future. But how has this changed things for me? I very quickly learned that investing for one person, i.e. myself in my 20s, looks very different to investing when a full family is being considered. For those of you who are not aware, I recently did a video talking about my investment journey, specifically taking risk in my 20s when I had a lot of exposure to crypto. However, that has definitely changed recently, changed a lot. I've recently been very aggressive with my contributions into my stocks and shares ISA, and I've also dabbled a little bit in the property market as well. But the bottom line of it is just to make sure that I'm diversifying my risk and I'm not so reliant on a volatile market like crypto. The bottom line of it is that I'm looking to diversify my wealth into safer assets to protect my family. But I want to make it very, very clear that this doesn't mean going all in on cash, because that is just not a good idea. And look, I'll be completely honest, I'll hold my hands up. I am still going to be taking a small amount of risk with a smaller allocation of my portfolio. But it looks very, very different compared to how it was 5 years ago. Ultimately, I'm doing two different things. Firstly, I am putting together a fund for my son so he can start his adult life with that little advantage that so many youngsters may need in the future due to inflation and due to rising costs. And secondly, I am much more protective over mine and my family's wealth to ensure a better quality of life in the future. However, if you are interested in my journey so far, and more specifically the biggest mistake that I made in my 20s, feel free to click on the video that'll appear on the screen right now and go and check it out.